Hi.
Hi there. Hiya. So sorry if you can hear some noises over here. So we're gonna start the call. As mentioned in the email, we will ask you some questions, and then you can ask us some questions as well. If there's any external audience that's gonna pop in during the call, they're free to ask you some questions as well at the end. This session will be recorded and uploaded online for voters to view. So you have nominated yourself for VP Internal Affairs, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so could you go ahead and introduce yourself with name, year of study, and what you're studying?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Aleena. I'm going into my third year, same as Matanel. And I'm doing BSc psychology, so just pure psychology. And was there anything else that you wanted me to say? No. Okay.
It's fine, no worry. So I'm gonna go ahead with my questions first. So what makes you stand out from your opinion?
I think your voice cut, but I think it was what makes me stand out.
What makes you stand out? Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. I think it's my internet. I think in my case, one of the key, I think, features of signing up for an executive position is that you've participated in them before. So I've already been welfare officer and I'm taking on a few new roles this year that I think really prepare me for working in internal affairs because I think the main key thing is that you can communicate the issues of everyone within the society or any opinions or ideas or anything they might have. For example, with events and merch design, you can communicate it effectively within your society. So the previous positions I've held have really helped me develop my ability to do that. So I think that really makes me stand out. And also, a lot of my background has been in working with younger kids or working like volunteering and giving my time up even during uni and during school. So I think time management, organization are really key skills that are required. So I think that's also something I've developed over the last few years that I think will really help me stand out in this position.
Great, thank you for answering that. Next one's gonna be, so you wrote some of your ideas on a manifesto. I was gonna ask you, what are some difficulties that you foresee might happen when kind of either implementing your plans or in general next year, what kind of like difficulties you think might happen and how you're planning on solving them?
Yeah, so I think some of the key things I discussed were obviously the design of merch, the potential introduction of like a psych ball, and just events in general. So I think a lot of them is like management and making sure that everyone's opinions are heard, because obviously you want to consider the majority and what they want. So some people, their opinions might not fully be fulfilled, and I think that'll be one of the difficulties. It's like finding the balance of what does everyone want and how realistic it is. I think that'll definitely be the case. And in terms of events and managing them and collaborations, I think a lot of it depends on the other societies that we decide to collaborate with, or the different companies, for example, or the talks that we decide to hold. It really depends on the communication we build with those other societies or communities. And that's something that we can't really, again, it's not really in our control, but I think making that effective communication and doing our best to keep the communication not only within our society and committee, but also between other societies and other companies, I think that'll be one thing. And the way I'm planning to manage that is just by being very approachable and keeping a really like open perspective, because I want everyone to be able to approach me and feel that I'm able to project their ideas or their opinions onto, for example, the president or other areas that I might be responsible for overseeing. So I think that'll be key. And also just regular communication. So I think over social media, like we have been on the Instagram or like through emails, regular emails and regular conversations, I think that'll be really, really key. So keeping open and approachable communication methods throughout.
Thank you. That sounds very good. Um, Then, if you by any chance do you have anything else that was not on your manifesto that you would like to share? It can be anything, like don't feel pressure to say, but if you did have anything.
I think the only thing that I didn't really mention on my manifesto is like I kept it quite short and simple because I wanted to make sure it was easy to read and clear. But on top of that, I think the only thing I'd mention is I'm kind of looking into more diverse areas in the future. Like, we're in third year and we're looking into like our careers and things we want to pursue. So I'm looking into more of like a marketing and business and consulting area, which I think is not really the straightforward path. So I think it would be really cool to implement that into like events we have in the future, or like if we start a mentoring program. So that's something I have experience with and I've been conducting internships and research in. So like the marketing and consulting area. So I think that would be really cool and unique that we could bring in, because I know a lot of people have been saying that that's something they want to pursue in the future. And I think we haven't gotten that much guidance on it. So I think it would be good if, because I know I've built connections that I'd be able to bring in to come talk to us about these kind of areas and provide us with this useful like information. So I think that would be something that I didn't mention, but I'd like to bring in to the committee.
Yeah, it sounds like, yeah, I know I've heard many people talk about it as well. I think it would be a great idea. The thing I was going to ask you is actually if you have any questions for us by any chance, feel free to go ahead and ask. But society, or if you
I
don't,
think, I think the only questions I'd have is like, what do you guys think is going to be like the biggest challenge? Because from what I was aware of, the society hasn't run for since we joined. So it's up and coming. So there must be like some kind of pressure that, we have to create something like pretty interesting and get everyone's attention back. And so how do you guys feel about it?
I think the issue is probably going to be exactly what you talked about. So the fact that we're a new society means we're also new. I mean, it existed 3-4 years ago and then it stopped
Yeah.
existing. So I think the issue is mainly going to be get credibility and kind of visibility from one side. So kind of be able to get out there as well. More, kind of reach out to external people. That might be a bit harder for us, as well as standing up to the expectations, because I know many students want many things, but we might not be able to provide all of them first year. Kind of it needs to be a slow start for it to be a functional and successful start. So we do want to do a lot, but we need to stay kind of realistic and handle everything very well, because there's no organization, we have no footprints to follow. So yeah, that's going to be hard, but I think we manage. I mean, we managed to do something last year already when we literally did not have a structure. So I trust the fact that we'll be able to kind of build that teamwork and build that community, which is what I'm really looking forward to as well.
Plus, I think because like obviously you guys understand too, like when you're third year, like you want to make the most of it, right? So like the little things like the psych ball or like making like merch and stuff. I know it's good to have third years on the thing because they're the ones who care about it the most. They want to make the most of the year and they're like, oh, all these things that we missed out in the last 2 years, like we want it. So I think that'll be good. Because like if there's more of us, then it'll kind of push that forward. And then we can also build a blueprint for like first and second years that we'll join on later on. So I think it'll be good.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi, Winnie. So as mentioned per email, we will ask you some questions and you'll be able at the end of the session to ask us some questions as well. In case there's any external audience that pops in during the call, they'll be able to ask you questions as well. The session will be recorded for viewers, to vote. And you have nominated yourself for VP for Internal Affairs. Would you like to please introduce yourself with your name, year of study, and what you're studying, please?
So, hey everyone, my name is Winnie or Wei Li, and I am moving on to year 3 and I'm studying BSc Psychology.
Thank you. So now I'm going to go ahead with the questions. So the first one is, what makes you stand out from the other candidates for this role?
I would say what makes me stand out from the other candidates is that I am a creative, detail-oriented person, but also I'm able to see the big picture, which means, and for being detail-oriented, like I've had art and I've had like an internship in a design company. I'm also greatly interested in literature. And I believe this detail-oriented skill, let's say, is important for overseeing the events and also community engagement department, as I will be able to suggest ideas for, let's say, events, or think of creative ways for problem solving whenever there's an issue. And regarding the seeing the bigger picture, I have experience as a human resources director at Enactus UCL, and I was also a student ambassador at UCL, and so I've also done a lot of administrative tasks, and being able to see the big plans, I am able to put it like all of our events into like a bigger perspective regarding our bigger goals. So whether the bigger goals is to foster social connection between students, or whether it's to provide more career opportunities for students, I think it's especially important for a management role to keep everybody on track and to move on towards the bigger goals of the society.
Sorry, I was still muted. Thank you very much for your answer. So the next one's going to be, what are some difficulties that you foresee might happen, as in what might kind of happen when you implement your plans, or what might happen next year that is a problem, and how you plan on kind of solving it?
So as PsychSoc is a new society, I believe, like everybody, I know that everybody will be really excited to move on with events, whether it's social or academic or even community engagement projects. And I would say, as a VP, one of the concerns I could see is time management, basically, not just for me, but like for the entire team, as because we will be moving on with a lot of events, for example, like social, academic, we'll have volunteer projects as well, or even design new merch. That means we'll have to meet deadlines, and depending on if the project like happens at the same time or if they're more spaced, like either way we'll have deadlines. And because I know I've had experience like doing events for PsychSoc or even for other societies, I know that that doesn't only involve planning them, it also involves liaising with third parties, for example, like the department or the venue. And I know that that can take a lot of time. So I think the difficulty will basically be time management. And in order to solve that, we need to make sure that we have a clear timeline, and but also to ensure that there's some breathing room between the different projects to ensure for any delays or unexpected circumstances that may happen. And obviously, as I've mentioned in my other interview as well, this is just one of the difficulties that I see may happen. And there are also other difficulties that may not be foreseeable. But the thing is, I know that I'm a very hands-on, solve the problem kind of person. So I'm excited to see those challenges, and I'm confident that I will be able to solve them.
Thank you for your answer. And then last question for you is going to be, if by any chance you have anything that is not on your manifesto that you'd like to share, it can be anything at all. Feel free to share it now with us.
Okay. Honestly, I don't think I have like anything additional to my manifesto and what I've said now, but I'm just really excited to see everybody on campus next year, and I'm looking forward to it.
Same. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you by any chance have any questions for us, feel free to ask.
No, not really. I think it's all good.
Okay.